Hey everybody, my name is Aaron and I quit my job to start a startup. I'll be video blogging about it every Wednesday, so subscribe. So as I said last week, this week's topic is going to be about market research and surveys. So when you are starting a startup, one of the things you're supposed to do is talk to potential customers. And since I'm making an app for bands and fans, I tried to talk to both sides of that. So I talked to people in bands and said, here's what I'm going to do, what do you think? And they gave me their feedback and it was pretty positive. And I talked to fans, people who go to concerts, and I said, what do you think? And they said, yeah, it sounds pretty good. But I wanted some more validation than that. And one of the ways to do that, I figured, would be surveys. Now, one of the reasons to do this is to get like mass feedback. Like instead of getting 10 responses for an hour of work, I could maybe get hundreds of responses. And that's the kind of consensus that I'm more interested in learning about. So I registered on SurveyMonkey and I set up my account. They have some restrictions for the free account, which seemed reasonable at first, but I ended up paying for a premium account later on because you can only view 100 survey responses, even if you get more, if you're on a free account. So it kind of was like, okay, well, it's a no-brainer. I have to get the pro account to see more responses because I ended up getting almost 400 survey responses. And yeah, I'll tell you how. The first way I got them was actually by paying for them. So SurveyMonkey has this feature where you can pay per response. You have to do it in bulk. Obviously, the minimum order is 50. And it's $1 per response if there's no targeting. And I learned how important this is when I put in an order for 50 responses and came back the following morning and found out that all responses had been filled except that about half of them were people that were probably older than the age group I'd like to target, and most of them had no interest in concerts. So I tried again, being a little more optimistic than I should have, and I paid for responses with a targeted age group of 18 to 34, which made it more expensive because that's the expensive age group. And I paid for 60, and I ended up getting back more responses that were overall negative, but there were some more positive ones. So ultimately, what I ended up doing was I went to Reddit. You know, the nice thing about Reddit is because there's a subreddit for everything you can think of, there's a subreddit for every band you can think of, basically. And so I figured I would go to the subreddits of the most popular bands and post this question, basically say, hey, I'm building an app. What would you think of a, and then whatever the name of the band was, app. So through that, I actually got back a lot of responses. So remember, I ended up paying something like $150 for the responses that I got paid, and they were okay. And for free, for a few hours of work on Reddit, I got 260 responses. So that's pretty cool. This video is already over my goal time, but I actually wrote up the entire process, including explaining more about my results and more about the questions and how I chose the questions on Medium. So I will provide a link to that in the video through the magic of annotations, and also in a link below. If you want to keep up with me on my startup journey, please subscribe and also leave comments on the video. I'm always going to try to respond. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.